Welcome back to Behind the Caution Tape. I'm your host, CrashLit. We got another exciting week of USC athletics coming up and a great week of USC athletics to recap. So let's get into all of that. But before we do, I do have a couple of announcements. I talked about them briefly near the end of the show last week. I want to reemphasize them here at the top of the show now. I do have a couple other reporting gigs I'm doing throughout the week. I recently joined We Are SC and am co-host a weekly USC football recruiting recap and preview show that highlights everything going on with the football team every Wednesday. And then I'm also now involved with the Voice of College Football with USC's station with Matt Zemek and Ethan Inman, where on Sundays we recap the game that happened the day before, and then on Tuesday nights we are live with a preview of every game of the upcoming game that week. So wanted to just make sure, you all knew about that. So you knew how to find more of my content that I've been putting out. Then obviously be sure to follow me at CrashLit on Instagram. That's where I'll be keeping you all updated and promoting all the everything that I've got going on. And before we get into football, I do want to let you all know that I do have some connections to be able to get some deals. So first one I have is Harpoon Brewery eStore. Listener discount of 25% off when you use my code CrashLit. Discover exclusive Harpoon Brewery apparel designed with craft beer enthusiasts in mind only at Harpoon Shop. Go to shopharpoonbrewery.com and put the code CrashLit at the end. I do get a commission off it, so it does support me and the show. So support is greatly appreciated. And it's especially just cool to have these. And I also will post a link at the bottom in the notes of this show where you can find this deal and all the other deals. So let's first get into our first topic of the day, which will be football. USC beat Michigan State 45-31 on Saturday at the Coliseum to move to 4-0 on the year, 2-0 in conference play. I was overall impressed with the team overall, especially when you consider that Elijah Page got injured and missed the entire second half, and Jacoby Lane was out altogether on Saturday night. But you saw just the team really play well. You saw Jaden Mayava pass for 234 yards, Wayman Jordan rushed for 157 yards, and Makai Lemon 127 yards. So overall, like I said, I was really impressed with the defense. Jaden Mayava accounting for 5 total touchdowns, 3 passing, 2 rushing, and you're just seeing him just become more and more comfortable. He's the right fit for the type of offense that Lincoln Riley likes to run, especially at the air raid. And then especially when you combine just the weapons he's got at his disposal with Wayman Jordan and Eli Sanders continuing to do well. Jordan, as I said, ran for 157 yards on 18 carries. Eli Sanders for 90 yards on 16. And then also you got Makai Lemon, who went off for 127 yards, 8 receptions, and had a touchdown with a long of 40 yards. So you just are seeing this team come together and just playing really good football. However, I think some areas too that do need to improve are on the defense. This is definitely an area that's been a struggle at times. Obviously, the D-line has been great. Linemen are especially great. Obviously, no thick six, but still been an impressive just how much of this, forced turnovers. Turnover plus minus is +5 right now. So the turnover margin. So you're just seeing this defense doing really well, especially when they put a lot of pressure on opposing quarterbacks, as we saw them do to Aiden Childs in the Michigan State offense. However, where USC struggled, and at times when it allowed Michigan State, where it looked like the Spartans were going to get back in the game kind of late before SC got a couple touchdowns, was in the secondary. If the ball got deep, or if the Spartans got into the secondary with the ball, they were in trouble. And especially just shows that's an area that really needs some improvement from the Trojans. So while I've got a lot of confidence in this team still, it's definitely, I think they're going to be put to the test. And that's going to transition us and talking about the game against Illinois. USC moved up to number 21 in the AP poll, 22 in the coaches poll, and Jaden Mayava for his has made the Davy O'Brien grade 8 QBs as of week 4. So it just shows that he's just really getting better. And really USC, I'm really curious about this matchup with Illinois. It kicks off at 9 a.m. on Fox. It'll be the big noon kickoff game. So big noon kickoff is going to Champaign. However, I'm really curious about this matchup now. Is it the matchup that everyone thought it was going to be? And is Fox regretting making it their big noon game? You just have to wonder because of the fact that Illinois got absolutely hammered by Indiana on Saturday, 63-10. So that leaves the question, are the Hoosiers better than people expected them to be? And I think Indiana's a really good program. You have to give Kurt Cignetti a lot of credit there. Obviously, there has been some controversy about their non-conference schedule, notably, especially in the couple of years when they canceled their home and home with Virginia. That's another discussion, though. But are the Hoosiers better than people expected, or are the Illini worse than people expected? Because everyone's thinking, oh, it's going to be like probably a top 20 matchup. Illinois was previously number 9 before they lost. They've now since dropped to number 23 in the country. So this could very much be a trap game, as a lot of people have pointed out. So I'm just really curious about how will USC respond, especially they're going on the road. Illinois is, I think, still really good. Obviously, got Luke Altmaier, and just the Illinois team in general just struggled. Indiana was pretty much able to do whatever they wanted. But I'm just wondering, that's my big question. Is this, and if Illinois is worse than we thought, is this a trap game for USC now? You kind of are thinking, okay, great, we got this, then we got the bye, then we got Michigan. You can't look ahead, though. You got to go into Champaign and take care of some business, especially now that the Illini just got completely exposed. Like, what can you do to take advantage of that? And I think that's what USC needs to do with this Brett Bielema team. So that's really the big question I got there. So now on to so before we get into talking about hoops, do want to say that Big Fork Brands, with my exclusive code CrashLit, go to bigforkbrands.com. You can get 20% off your total purchase. At this one also, I get a commission. And Big Fork Brands crafts bacon, sausage, paleo pork jerky, Chicago-sized sauces, and meat sticks. So be sure to get your order there and use my promo code CrashLit. So the men's and women's basketball schedules are both out. The Big Ten released the conference schedules late last week. So now we have those to go in and break down. So we'll start with the men's team. So they're playing the same opponents they played last year, just flipped. Locations are flipped. And then they'll do home and homes with Oregon, Washington, and UCLA, the 3 other West Coast schools. They'll all play each other twice and everybody once. So I've talked a bit about the non-conference schedule. Obviously, definitely some interesting teams that USC will have coming to Galen Center. I'm definitely intrigued about Purdue coming, Indiana coming. I think those will be interesting ones. Illinois coming, teams that were good last year. Then also USC is going to go play at Michigan State. So those are some of the games that just are really intriguing me. And I'm just going to look at the whole schedule and this is definitely going to be an interesting year for Eric Musselman and the men's basketball team. And obviously, just to hype up the season, Muss has been doing a ton of promo to really get people to want to come to games. So it's been really exciting to see him. I actually saw him on Saturday before the game when I was tailgating, got a photo of him. And you obviously been seeing him, running around in the football uniform and all that. So you're just seeing him really wanting to get a lot of hype around his guys, especially because a lot of them are still unknown. But I think especially when you have guys like Rodney Rice coming over from Maryland, that'll be an interesting team too, especially with Buzz Williams now taking over for Kevin Willard. But I'm really excited, especially you got Rodney Rice, Ezra Alzar, Chad Baker-Mazzara. And something I'm wondering after some stuff I saw earlier today on X was, did Chad Baker-Mazzara know Bruce Pearl was going to retire today? Because maybe he knew something the rest of us didn't. It's definitely something that, who knows, but it's been definitely weird to see some hoops coaches announce their retirements less than 2 months before the season tips off. Seems kind of like really weird timing. Obviously, Auburn's got their succession plan, but you have to wonder, did Chad Baker-Mazara know something was going to happen with this Auburn team? And is that why he just ultimately decided to, did that ultimately factor into his decision to come to USC? It's just definitely something to think about, but it was definitely really interesting, I think. So, yeah, I think obviously there's some great matchups coming up, like I've said. So I'm really excited for this season, this men's basketball season to be back, especially if, got UCLA on the schedule. And I'm really excited to see just how the Must Bus takes that next step, especially with another pretty much virtually new look team, Terrence Williams, the second being the lone scholarship player to return. But I think this team's going to be better because, like I said last week in response to a question, Eric Musselman had more time to really get the guys he wanted. He wasn't just having to just put together a roster all at the last second, kind of on a whim. So I'm really thinking that this year is actually going to be much better than it was. So I really think that USC is going to have a good year on the men's side. And then going over to the women's side, talk about their non-conference schedule. I think some of the games that intrigue me are going to be the conference opener on December 7th against Washington, mainly because it'll be the return of former USC guard Avery Howell, who transferred to the Huskies after 1 year with the Trojans. Obviously, both UCLA games. Really interested to see how Michigan State and Michigan look. And then in terms of teams coming, I think Wisconsin, Iowa will interest me just because even though she's not there anymore, just Caitlin Clark and just will USC be kind of mad that that was the one team they lost to in conference play. So I really think that it's going to be a really great season again on the women's side. Obviously, they won't have Juju Watkins or Kaylee Heckel, who went to UConn. We'll see her this soon, but I think they still have a good team, especially when you consider they brought in Jazzy Davidson and were able to retain Kennedy Smith and Malia Samuels. So I'm really still excited to see what this team has and how they're going to scheme, especially when they get into that Big Ten play and the challenging road there. But it's still, I'm really excited for this season, and I think it's going to be really fun. But it'll definitely be brutal, especially with both the non-conference slate as well as some of those conference matchups. I think you're going to see some really good games there, and I think that's definitely something that's going to be really intriguing for Lindsay Gottlieb, especially when you consider that she did also now, we also did see Wendell Farrow leave for South Carolina, wishing him nothing but the best, and excited to see and hope to, if I make it to the game at crypto.com arena against the Gamecocks, get a chance to talk to him, but wishing him nothing but the best with the Gamecocks there. So before we turn to our next product, or our next team, be sure to check out mollybees.com to get unforgettable artisan crafted cookies. Get 10% off any product. It's the best deal you can find. And Molly Bees brings bold gourmet cookies right to your pantry. So be sure to use my promo code CrashLit and find them at mollybees.com. So on to women's volleyball, who had a 3-0 weekend. I only made it to one of the games due to family obligations and my other shows that I'm involved with. Women's volleyball went out and beat LSU twice. They beat them 3-1 on Thursday night, 25-20, 30-28, 17-25, 25-17 at Galen, with Riley McGinnis and Brooklyn Teeler leading with 9 kills each. Reese Messer and Abigail Mullen having 3 aces each. McGinnis leading with 8 blocks. Messer leading with 42 assists, and Taylor Deckert leading with 14 digs. So first 2 sets were pretty close, but I was trying to follow it a little bit on my phone when I was at dinner. Obviously couldn't follow it the whole time, and LSU dominated the 3rd set, but USC had a solid bounce back performance to dominate the 4th set to take the first of 2 matches against the Tigers. The Trojans then followed that up with a sweep of LSU the following night, 25-19, 25-21, 25-16. The following night, Mullen led with 11 kills. Mullen and Gala Truban each had 2 aces to lead the Trojans. McGinnis and Messer had 4 blocks each. Messer led with 40 assists, and Mullen led with 15 digs. So USC was in really big control of sets 1 and 3. But LSU battled in set 2, but USC managed to hold on and still get the sweep. And then USC beat Cal 3-1, 25-20, 25-27, 25-18, 25-14 on Sunday at Galen Center. London Weejay led with 14 kills. Mullen had 5 aces. Mia Taverdi led with 8 blocks. Messer with 43 assists. And Taylor Deckert leading with 14 digs. So USC was in control for set 1. Let Cal stay with them and ultimately take set 2. And then dominate the final 2 sets of the match to get a 3-1 win over the Golden Bears and their former Pac-12 opponent, the Golden Bears. So USC is now 9-1 on the season, moved up to number 17 from 19th in the rankings. And Reese Messer was named the Big Ten Freshman of the Week. And just how she's been playing, both just being able to just take really solid command of the offense has been super impressive to see, especially as a freshman. But then also just how she has just been a beast whenever she's met the net and just been getting blocks. I was really excited to see both on Sunday yesterday when I watched the game against Cal, as well as when I was at Galen Center on Friday for the second of the 2 LSU games, when she just was going off at the net. So just how she's been playing has just been so fun to watch. And it's really exciting to see just how good she is, even for a freshman. And that was something that really came across, just how quickly the freshmen, like I've said, when I covered Big Ten volleyball media days this summer and talked to Adanya Famuina, Leah Ford, and head coach Brad Keller, was just how quickly the freshmen were buying into the culture and just the team, as well as just how much you could tell that Keller knew he may have to rely on a few of them. And especially you saw it with Mullen and Deckert coming to SC a semester early to really just, be able to learn and develop quickly. So it's been really impressive to see how they've been doing that. So just to see that work pay off for them too, as well as Reese Messer, who didn't show up until the summer, is nothing short of impressive. But USC's season is going to get a bit tougher now, especially with Big Ten play starting this weekend, when USC opens Big Ten play against the defending national champions and current 15th ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. The Nittany Lions are 6-4 on the year, and will face the Trojans Friday night at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Then the following night, the Trojans go to Columbus, take on the Ohio State Buckeyes at 4 p.m. Buckeyes are 3-5, so Penn State is national champs, having a bit of a tough start, and then Ohio State's going to be a tough place to play. USC is still going to be just I'm still really excited for this team to really go out there and have an opportunity to go win some games. But I think it's going to be definitely some big matchups for them, especially opening against the defending national champs. But still, I think it's going to be 2 great games for the Trojans to then really see where they're at, especially going on the road to the other side of the country. But I think this team is really good. They just definitely need to know how to, play, just not get too phased in those big matches. Especially, I think we saw it when they beat Creighton and then lost to BYU. They were in that BYU game. There were some self-inflicted wounds in that game against the Cougars. But USC is definitely a very capable team, and I think can go very far. And I think that's ultimately their goal, is to get further than they've got, especially based on my conversations this summer with Keller. And then before we go to soccer, quick word. Next deal I got before we go to soccer. Next deal is from Old Glory, which is iconic music and sports fan merch. Go to oldglory.com and use the promo code CrashLit for 15% off any product. And they have over 300,000 officially licensed items covering music, sports, entertainment, and pop culture. So if that's anything that you're interested in, go to oldglory.com and use my promo code, which will get you the highest exclusive discount for my listeners. So use my promo code CrashLit to get it. Let's move to soccer, who went 1-1 on the week and fell out of the rankings last week. soccer rankings come out every Tuesday. So unfortunately, I don't have those updated rankings as of recording right now. So those aren't out yet. So because they don't come out until tomorrow, I believe, I'm just going to have to go with this. But USC has fallen out of the rankings after last week after losing to Washington, and is likely going to stay out after going 1-1. So USC won 2-1 at Michigan on Thursday. I had a chance to watch this game. So in the 24th minute, Maribel Flores got USC up 1-0, assisted by Jaden Anderson and Faith George. Right before halftime in the 45th minute, Lily Bosley scored unassisted for the Wolverines. And then the 67th minute, on an assist by Murphy Walsh, Flores scored again to put USC up for good. Bella Gress just had one save in the goal, and Maribel Flores was crucial for both goals and really allowing USC to get their first Big Ten win first Big Ten win on the road. Big Ten win and a crucial win on the road. But 3 days later, USC lost 4-0 to the Spartans in East Lansing. And the Spartans got the party started really early. Not even a minute into the game, Kennedy Bell scored on an assist from Ava Lutke. 51st minute, that was and then the 51st minute, so after halftime, Kayla Briggs got an assist, scored on an assist from Bell. Bell scored again in the 66th minute with assist from Briggs and Ella Jans. And in the 71st minute, Ramini Tillotson scored unassisted to give the Spartans their fourth and final goal of the game. Gruss had 4 saves for USC. USC just struggled to get anything going, especially with the Spartans striking so early and really often, especially in that second half. So USC just didn't seem to have any response. They dropped now to 4-3-1 on the year, and they're 1-2 in Big Ten play. And so they now return back home to Rollinson Stadium. So tough first road trip, but hopefully USC can bounce back from that, or tough ending, I should say. When they'll face Maryland, who's 6-4 on the year, and 2-1 on Thursday at 7 p.m. on the Big Ten Plus. And then Rutgers, who's 3-4 and 1-1 on Sunday at 1 p.m. on the Big Ten Network. So USC is back home, but needs to show up big after a rough ending to the weekend. Hopefully, I think this team is still good. They got a lot of promise, but still, it's definitely tough when you lose a really big leadership class that you had last year. That was ultimately big in helping this team get to the Elite Eight. And obviously, living up to those standards is difficult, but I still got a lot of confidence in this team and in Jane Alukonis. So our final deal of the day is with Cozy Earth. You can find them at cozyearth.com. Listener discount with my exclusive promo code CrashLit is 41% off any product. And be sure to, and their bamboo sheet set provides cooling comfort and unparalleled softness. So like I said, be sure to find them at cozyearth.com and use my promo code CrashLit for 41% off. You won't find a better deal out there than that. So finally, next we'll move to men's water polo, who was number 2 coming into the weekend, will probably drop to number 3 after losing to Cal. But we'll get to that in a sec. So on Friday afternoon, they beat Claremont Mud Scripps 25-17 at Watangzu. Reed Hanna led with 4 goals. Bernardo Herzer had 3 saves in 8 minutes. Charlie Mills didn't have a save in 8 minutes. And Nemo Pavogi had 4 in playing the second half. So happy for Nemo to actually get some playing time, especially in a blowout like that. Smart use by Marco Pinterich to let his third-string goalie get reps in the cage and also rest both Herzer and Mills, as it seems like they may be in a bit of a battle, especially also Pinterich likes to get Charlie Mills his reps too. On Saturday, USC played twice, moving to Speaker Aquatic Center for the remainder of the MPSF tournament, the Overnight MPSF tournament, when they beat UC San Diego 15-8 with Stefan Bronkovich, Andre Grigorevich, Mahalio Vukazic, and Efe Naipoglu leading with 2 goals each. Mills had 8 saves and played the whole game, and USC really pulled away in the third. But then later that day, they lost 13-11 to Cal, with Grigorevich leading with 5 goals. Herzer played the first half, and Mills played the second half, each with 3 saves, and a back-and-forth game that the Golden Bears ultimately prevailed in. Then on Sunday in the third place game, USC beat Stanford in overtime with Mihailo Vukacic leading the way with 6 goals, and Mills having 12 saves and playing the whole game. So back and forth affair that went into OT. So USC really showing that they got 2 versatile goalies in both Herzer and Mills. So really definitely interested to see who plays when. It definitely seems like Marco Pinterich is really letting them both battle and get reps, which I think hurts and definitely keeps the competition going between them two and doesn't let either guy get complacent. So USC having two matches that count, as well as an exhibition game at Watangzu against the Shanghai Water Polo Club. That'll be Wednesday night at 5 p.m. And then the Trojans go on the road to play at Pacific on Friday at 7 p.m. and UC Davis on Sunday at noon. So USC has opportunities to stay ready and get a couple more wins and just, get ready for MPSF play when that heats up, because they're going to have to start that on the road against Stanford and then at Cal next weekend. Next up, we'll move to men's golf, who finished tied third, 17 under par, 847 total score at the William H. Tucker Intercollegiate from September 19th through 20th. So over the weekend, hosted by New Mexico in Albuquerque. So the individual scores were Nicholas Dominguez leading the way with 7 under par, 209 total. And tied 11th was Antonio Safa, who finished 5 under par, 211 total score. Tied 15th was Jaden Demdemaya, who went 4 under par, 212 total score. Tied 27th was both Jack Buchanan and Luke Stock, who was playing independent, so his score did not factor into USC's total. They both went 1 under par, 215 total. And then tied 95th was Rogev Gulati, who finished 12 over par, 228. So another good finish for USC, especially after starting the year with a win. And up next for them, they'll take part in the Trinity Forest Invitational at the Trinity Forest College Country Club, hosted by SMU from October 5th through 7th. So I'll bring you updates on all that when that happens. So women's golf had the first day of the Red Sky Classic in Wolcott, Colorado. So that'll last from started today and will run through Wednesday. And USC having an opportunity to. So USC now. So the results there. So USC, I'll bring you all updates on how USC does next week. Men's tennis will have their first event for the individual season at the Sherwood Invite Thousand Oaks. That'll run from Thursday through Saturday. And I'll bring you updates on how they do next week. So women's tennis currently taking part in the ITA All-American Championships. Those started on Saturday and are running through and will run through next Sunday. So I'll have final updates on the notable highlights from that. Then other than that, the final things we have to talk about are cross country has their next meet, which is the UC Riverside Invitational. That'll be Saturday. We'll start at 7:15 p.m. So I'll bring you results from that next week. And lacrosse announced their fall ball schedule. So the first game will be on October 4th at San Diego State, pardon me. And USC showing. So USC lacrosse hoping to have a good year after tough first year in the Big Ten. They'll have 4 matchups all on the road, and then also an intra-squad to close out their fall ball season. So that's pretty much all we got. Last week I went 2-0 at the 2 games I went to. So 1-0 at women's volleyball, the second of the 2 LSU games. So I saw the sweep, and then was at the football game on Saturday against Michigan State. So that puts me at 12-2-1 on the year and 323, 121, and 1 overall. So I'm now 3-0 at football and 7-1 at women's volleyball. So not sure if I'll be able to make either of the 2 make any of the home games this week. There's obviously not much, just soccer and then the one water polo, but just due to my schedule and obligations, it is a little bit trickier for me now. As I've said, I will be at what I can and what my schedule allows, but that definitely is a little trickier now that I'm out of college. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to be there, but that's just kind of how things are right now with me. But definitely hoping to be at some stuff the following week to kick off October. So that's going to do it for us here at Behind the Caution Tape. Thanks again for tuning in. Be sure to use my promo code CrashLit. Really appreciate if you do use these deals, as I do get a commission, help support me and the show. And then I will put a link to all my deals in the notes for this show, and I will also be promoting it on my social media this week. So be sure to follow me at CrashLit. Keep up with not only my Behind the Caution Tape and what I'll be at in the future, but also just all the other shows that I've been involved with, both We Are SC and Voice of College Football. It's been so fun to just meet people through these and just do all these fun things and really just talk with other people, especially about USC football, occasionally about some of the other sports too, but really just talk about football and just talk about USC, which has meant so much to me. And just really just share my love of it with just not only them, but also just everyone who tunes in every week for everything that I've been doing. So it means the world to me. Be sure to follow me at CrashLit on all platforms. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you get them. And also, if you want to watch the video version, it'll be on my YouTube. You can follow me at CrashLit. I'll see y'all next week, and fight on.